see, there's a difference in the way that people hurt you, but also, are they ready? Are they willing to learn? Because, I mean, I could say a lot of things that would has made people question why I have my dad in my life. But the thing is that yes, there's some pretty heavy mistakes that he's made. But the thing is I even told him, I was like, and I thank the Lord too, when I did really get my healing, it's like, he was, even though he could have been better, I learned a lot. It's made me very scared. Like, when I felt like I was drinking too much 5 years ago, like, I started going to AA meetings, and it started, like, it got me scared because I didn't want to be like my dad. I did not want to be an aggressive alcoholic, and I was super scared of that. And I was going down, when I was drinking, I was just blacking out every time I was drinking, a blackout every time. And I just became really messy and very similar. I didn't become aggressive, but I was just messy. And my dad was very messy, alcoholic too. And like, even now, like, when it comes to, like, success, my dad is so incredibly talented, and he had so much potential, and he's incredibly creative. My dad is incredibly creative, but nothing ever took off the ground. And I noticed I was following similar patterns. And two, I think part of it was, like, he didn't have anybody supporting him. He didn't have anybody rooting him on. So, of course, all of his generational curses, like, anything he didn't deal with, I was going to deal with. Because even there were certain things he recently just shared with me about his life, and I'm like, he literally copy and pasted, like, but he never healed from it. And that's stopped him. And having to pave the way for himself, having to, he couldn't get past those. I was following the same patterns, and he didn't have anybody to support him, and I'm in that same boat. I've never really had anybody supporting my endeavors, the things that I wanted to do, even, like, all my weirdness and anything that I, like, get excited about. And I don't blame my family or anyone, like, but I'm seeing now, it's not even his burden. It's a burden that he's had from somebody else that he hasn't broken. So I don't even, like, feel like that non-celebration is even really him, like, deep down. But it's something it's just it's a pattern that, if I want to break that generational curse, it's something I'm going to have to follow in the same footsteps. I got my mom's and my dad's. You usually do, right? And so I had to break that. If I wanted to move forward in my life, I had to start looking at resources myself. I had to start climbing the mountain that I've never climbed before by myself with no supporters, even though I have no idea what that looks like. I've been falling off my face, getting back up, asking for guidance with Jesus. Like, it's been me and him for a little while now, and it's really helped me. And, like, putting those patterns in front of me, because now I'm able to talk with him about certain stuff too. And I've asked him certain questions, like, you had this in mind, and, like, these were some of the steps, you got to this step, but, like, what do you think went wrong here? And so I've been asking a lot of questions. But anyways, what I was getting, and, like, I was telling him, I think it was around Christmas, I was like, thank you for all the things that you have taught me. And that's the thing too, is I don't remind my dad of the mistakes that he's done. I've never reminded him of the mistakes that he's done. I did, for a long time, really want, like, some sort of an apology, but when I let that go, and realized that when I started my journey of healing, my healing and my journey does not depend on other people, like, and my forgiveness. It doesn't depend on the people who hurt you. The people who hurt you, we're depending on them to heal us, on their apology, but it doesn't come from them. Our healing doesn't come from them. Our healing does not come from them. It comes from us. And so I really try to remind him of where he's done right, because we're never going to move forward in a relationship if I'm constantly reminding someone of their flaws. They're not going to learn either, because they're going to be in a defensive manner, and it's just not going to get anybody anywhere, right? And so I had thanked him. I was like, and I even told him, I was like, thank you for being the perfect father for me and the perfect example. And he is, because I have so many fears, and he is an example. Had I not had those fears, it wouldn't have put me in the direction that I'm in. Being scared of being that example, and like, it's set me straight. So sometimes your mentor doesn't appear how you think that they should appear. And when I realized too, like, everything does happen for a reason with my mom, like, everything, I realized how much from my learning and everything, like, not one thing could have been different or should have been different. And so I told him, I said, thank you for everything that you taught me, even when, like, I didn't appreciate it at the time. Oh, and I was like, even though I'm aware now as an adult that a lot of what we didn't afford, and being like months and months and months behind on rent, and just certain things, then now I seem like, if you would have prioritized things differently, we wouldn't have been homeless. We wouldn't have been in the boats that we were in. And I'm aware of those things, but I don't say those things. Like, it's just not necessary to hold on to that stuff. And I told him, I said, thank you for even when you couldn't oh yeah, so that's where I was going with that. Thank you for even when you couldn't afford things, like, you still would get me stuff when you could, and like, you still tried to make things happen. And like, he was really good at wheeling and dealing stuff. Like, that's how he's gotten stuff, is wheeling and dealing. And it worked. So that I had, like, certain stuff when we didn't have a lot. And so I told him, I was like, thank you for, even though you were struggling and stuff like that, like, thank you for still doing stuff for and with me. Thank you for still, making things, like, trying to make things happen. And I think that meant a lot to him. Like, I hugged him, and then recently I told him, I was like, I think part of what I love music so much is because when I was younger, he would always be like, who's this? During the song, I'd be like, the Rolling Stones. Be like, no, it's AC/DC. I'm just kidding. Sometimes I was wrong, sometimes I was right. He loved it when I was right, honestly. He's like a proud dad when I was right. Oh, a long story longer. So that's where I was going with that. So the thing is, with certain people, I think I can feel that they're they're in a willingness to grow. And that's the thing is my dad may be a lot of things. And for some of you that know him, know that to be true.